Inglewood Police Department systemically violated the state public records law. What are your thoughts on this?
Hi, welcome to another episode of Car to Car. I'm Ramon.
And hi, I'm Dana. And today we'll discuss a case, a ruling by a judge actually, that ruled that Inglewood Police Department systemically violated the state public records law. What are your thoughts on this?
I think there's certain words that are supposed to be synonymous with the police department: trust, transparency, accountability. And when a department goes out of their way to not have trust, accountability, transparency, what are you trying to hide? I believe this department as well is under a consent decree.
It is.
So when you get to become under a consent decree, that's because there's no trust, transparency, and there's been something that happened that allowed you to show yourself uh, worthy of scrutiny. And this was disappointing because this deals with shootings, sexual activity, sexual misconduct, rather, and things of that nature, which are very heinous stuff. And I get that it's an embarrassment. I get that it's a liability. But guess what? This also hurts your community because you're trying not to show who you are. But police departments will be the first, if a situation happens, to air the dirty laundry of whatever community member that they had a negative encounter with, whether the citizen shot a police officer or had a fight with a police officer or anything like that. We'll be the first to say, well, look at the rap sheet of this person. But guess what? We never do. We never put the rap sheet of that officer. We never put the rap sheet of that tactical group that did something. And so, you know, this goes along the lines of lack of trust, transparency, and accountability. And so, um, when I saw this, I was just extremely disappointed and trying to figure out where we're trying to go with this.
Yeah. Well, when you mention what is the police department, this particular police department trying to hide, the public records request was over a period of 3 years, and the request involved fatal shootings, dishonesty by police officers, and sexual assaults involving officers. So I don't even see why, and within that 3 year period, no record was released, not one record. But I don't see why you would want to hide that. If those don't seem like officers you would want on your police department, let alone trying to protect. And it also came during the time around 2018, 2019, when the state law had changed. Senate Bill 1421 was enacted. That was pretty much their public records law for the first time in their history. So they were new to being transparent, and obviously was trying to buck that. And within that, the city council passed a law for the police department to destroy 100 internal affairs files from officers. Before the law was enacted, the Senate bill was enacted, they allowed them to destroy 100 officers' internal affairs records. So talk about what are you trying to hide? And so police should be transparent. If you operate that way, if you get in the habit of that way, because that helps you to rid your department of bad officers. And I don't think citizens, from my experience talking to citizens, they don't expect police departments to be perfect, because when you're dealing with humans, no one is perfect. But they do expect you to be accountable and transparent. That's
I,
the expectation.
I agree. I mean, not to step on you, but what is our mission? Like, what are we trying to accomplish as a police department where we allow officers or allow our leadership to hide this stuff and allow our elected officials to be okay with destroying this information? What are we trying to accomplish in law enforcement?
Exactly.
I thought we're supposed to be protecting
Well,
and
I'm
serving.
I'm only gonna just assume a little bit with the city council why they would do it, because sometimes they don't think about people per se, and they thinking about the money, because when you release those laws, I mean those records, lawyers get those records too. So they could be thinking about liability as opposed to thinking about limiting liability by getting rid of those bad police officers and changing those policies that may allow them to stay there. So sometimes you have to put people ahead of money.
I agree, and I think that's completely what the problem is. I mean, if we continue to allow these behaviors, guess what? We deserve to be sued. We deserve to shoulder some liability. But if we care about people, I think that's what it boils down to. We all take this job. Oh, we want to protect. We want to serve. You got the council. Oh, I want to do more. I want the community to be better. I want you guys to I want to help you raise yourself up by your bootstraps. I want to help you have housing and all this stuff. But all that stuff is a farce if we're lying or protecting the worst people that are supposed to be helping with dignity or policing or like you know it pisses you off because you're like, what are we really trying to do here, you know? So I just have to implore citizens to, hey, listen, you gotta vote for people who are going to have your best interests at heart. Get rid of these police chiefs and stop trying to be friendly or be in the know and know people. Get rid of these chiefs and these leaders that don't hold police officers accountable because you're the ones that are being hurt.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know, at the end of the day, I'm like, so I look at it, you know, and it sounds all self righteous or whatever, but, you know, I treated people how I wanted to be treated. When I saw somebody black, white, or Latin, I just saw a person. I didn't see black, white, or Latin. I just saw a person. Um, but the one thing that I did do was understand each culture's um, relationship with the police. So maybe I was a little bit more lenient on somebody black screaming or whatever, and I didn't take it as, oh, you're disrespecting me or as a threat, unless you literally threatened me. So maybe someone Latin that an older person that wanted to hug me, and I let them into my hula hoop as they call it, and allowed them to hug me or touch me or whatever. You know, I mean, I look at this and I'm like, what are we trying to accomplish as departments, as law enforcement? And then you're gonna have the damn unions fighting back hard to make sure that the officers' rights are protected, and they're out here doing sexual battery, doing these police shootings, and so I don't know. This is when I see some of this stuff, it's just very disappointing.
Yeah, this one was very disappointing, but I would just, in my commentary, to say that if you display good behavior and you follow the policies, you won't have nothing to hide. You release those easily, with pride. So if you have to hide something, and that lets you know you need to check something in your department and change those things that you're trying to hide.
I agree. And the last thing I'll say is that, I'm very familiar with these public records requests because as a union official, I did a lot of public records requests, and the city slow rolled a lot of stuff for these same reasons.
I still haven't gotten some, but
Yeah,
that's
I
another
mean,
story for
me too.
another day.
Me too. And so it's disappointing because at the end of the day, it's like, let's say I ask the city, hey, how many apples is on the chief's desk? I can see the apples, but if I wanted to use it as an official document, I need you to give it to me. So why do I need to wait 3 years for you to give me the information? And I'm not asking for an apple, but I may be asking for something that I already know the answer to, but I can't rightfully take that in a court, or I can't defend someone with something if I don't get it officially. But if they want to use it against an employee or against a citizen, they have the information. So that's why these public records requests are so important, because if you need it for court or you need it for any type of um, official proceeding, sometimes your word is not good enough. You need that documentation, and
For sure.
holding off on this stuff, you know, is a pain, and it is, it's disrespectful to what we allegedly say that we're trying to accomplish here.
Agreed.
Soapbox done.
Okay, so that's all I have. And this is another episode of Carter Call Podcast. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe and comment.
And until next time.
Until next time.